All right, my people, how are they this morning? Welcome to the show. My name is Uwe Balogun, but I'm not here alone. I'm here with amazing, beautiful Mo. You're looking so beautiful.
The land is green. Moyo is green.
It's green, you know. And I want to also use the opportunity to say congratulations to Mrs. Bello. Her picking they get married, Bello Nuruddin and Khadijat Abubakar today na their wedding celebration. So now one woman we really day for me. You know, health-wise, when I get issues that time, one of the organs, you know, the head of oncologists, we, you know, see to my matter to make sure see everything go well and all that. So God bless you, Mama. Thank you so much. Of course, we go also be there to represent too.
You look so beautiful.
Yeah, she does. She does.
The green.
The green is greening.
That mean looking orangey beautiful. That mean they go somewhere today.
I they go party. I they go top 50th. Olusola they say one of my go where I meet for life. In fact, you go. When they say sometimes water they thick past blood, just believe. Because you get some people where you go just meet for this life, and the way they go support you, help you, like you get one thing where I say they say men no they support women, no be every man. Some men they will say they just see you say you they strive, you they try, and that one for my brother, my Prince Olushola Samson Obasa. He turned 50 yesterday. CEO Event Perspective. He's a very nice person. You know, when you call person and you say, "Damn it, what's wrong with you?" I say, "Uncle Shola." You say, it be like say I know. Next time I'll just say a lot. I'm like, you say you stress, you didn't try.
Can I say something? Please call Uncle Shola and say the ladies need something this morning.
Uncle Shola, today is birthday like this.
Uncle Shola. One bedroom voice. No,
you know say when you want to catch your brother, I guess you go do voice. You go ask you say, what is the problem? So Uncle Shola, on behalf of the ladies, I know you owe us lunch. Don't worry. Happy birthday. God bless you. You will continue to prosper. Many more by God's grace.
In good health.
So we are coming. MC is coming for 50th birthday. I'm at Telepepe.
I like how you always rep culture. Now you're dressing site. You know, say elephants they like place where grass, water.
Begin. We no waiting kill him, Papa. That's the thing go kill him. Hey. Welcome to the next level. When I look up, now commotion. When I look down, now frustration. When I look at my side, now to reach the top, now connection. If you don't get person,
and the struggle continues.
No.
Okay.
I'm not struggling.
No.
Nigeria is not struggling.
No. But that's it. Nigerians struggle with prices as prices.
It's Nigerians that are struggling, not Nigeria.
Okay.
It's a difference.
Okay, carry it away. Say what you must.
I'm sorry. I meant that as a joke. But you know, it is true. When Nigerians are, having a hard time, Nigeria itself is actually going through what they call birth pangs. So, as at the last count, Nigeria's headline inflation is said to be some 15.91%. And unfortunately, unabated price hikes and accelerating food inflation continue to drive up the country's severe cost of living crisis. Of course, we're still talking about macroeconomic factors like fuel subsidy removal, currency devaluation that some people believe is triggering the initial crisis, exploitative pricing by traders, and on and on and on like that. Let's have conversations this morning about this matter with the founder and president, Consumer Advocacy Foundation of Nigeria, CAFON. She's a former honorable member representing the Southwest on the Competition and Consumer Protection Tribunal and a fellow broadcaster. Thank you for joining. I have to add that one. Yes. I just have to add it.
Once a media person.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me on Sunrise Bar. I'm
It's been some time since I've been here.
Yeah. Well, the sun still rises every day.
As it will continue to rise.
For which reason we are here.
Yeah.
So, first of all, give us an idea what this whole conversation about rising prices is about. Now, there are those who believe, for instance, that when the Strait of Hormuz was open, prices should automatically crash. Because when the president announced fuel subsidy is gone, that very day, prices hiked immediately. So maybe there is some understanding that Nigerians need to get about why prices hike suddenly. Is it exploitative by the operators, or is it the economy that is making it?
It's interesting. When I was going to prepare for this was one of the things that I actually looked up. And you find that the issue is that as a consumer, we think in terms of, I want to buy this is the price, I plan for it, I buy it. The retailer or the seller also is thinking in terms of the cost of production or the cost of replacement, and not the actual price or profit. So at the point at which he buys a product, I've had a very bad back and forth with retailers on this. When you buy a product and you've already put your markup, you have put your pricing, you have put your profit, and you put it out at a particular price to the consumer. If something happens in the market to distort the market, that's when you immediately just jack up the price. So something that I bought and I was selling at 10 naira before, there's some problem in that market, and then replacement cost for me becomes 30 naira. Immediately, I change the price of what I have left on my shelf in order for me to be able to replace it.
Right.
That's what causes that instant markup. Should it be? No. But one of the reasons why that is in Nigeria is because for businesses, access to capital finance is very, very difficult. In other environments, what would normally happen is, if there is going at the point of replacement, I just approach my bank and I take a loan or something at comfortable rates, so that the increase is not immediately transferred to the consumer. But because the average business person in Nigeria has to raise their own finances themselves, they don't have access to cheap loans to help to support their capital expansion or replacement costs. It's from this stock that they have to generate the amount of money that they need to be able to stay in business. So that is the problem.
Is there a system that guards that downstream sector, if I can, put it that way? Because at the end of the day, we understand the perspective of the dealer, the person who is, dispensing to me, but then it hasn't. The person's challenge has not increased my own income. If anything, it has made life a little more difficult for me. And so it is it's a cycle.
A very vicious one.
Once they do that one, I'm also thinking, I'm selling tomato, not petrol. Automatically, Forex will
which is the reason why when you go to the open market, you hear people say, Naira has, the cost of Naira, what is it, exchange rate has increased, and you're wondering exchange rate on pepper. It's because it's a domino. It's a vicious cycle. If you increase your pricing, it affects my own inputs, and that means I also have to increase my pricing to go, for me to be able to stay in business and be able to provide the service that you want. So it's a vicious cycle. Now, it shouldn't be. I just explained to you, I said, it really shouldn't be so. The peculiarity of the Nigerian environment makes it even harder. Cost of living is a problem globally. If you listen to foreign news, you know that everybody is really struggling with it.
Even when you watch films, you know.
You know, so it's a global thing, but our own environment makes it even more excruciating because of so many things that are not really in place to help to cushion the effect of the cost.
So what? Because I mean, you've explained it away, and the reasons. You know, when the prices go up, and you want to increase your own prices so that you can have. You can afford,
and to stay in business.
Yeah, to stay in business, you can afford the replacement. But why does that have to be passed down to you and I? I mean, can't you just get the money to be able to replace it? Why do you have to inflate what you didn't buy for that amount? You can afford,
and to stay in business.
Yeah, to stay in business, you can afford the replacement. But why does that have to be passed down to you and I? I mean, can't you just get the money to be able to replace it? Why do you have to inflate what you didn't buy for that amount? So you're almost getting like 100% or 150%, 300% profit. Just because you want to be able to replace your stock, then I have to pay for that.
My argument has always been, which is when I talk to the retailers about this, my argument has always been, it's as if you are making your consumers shareholders in your business and they don't get dividend. Because your shareholders are the ones to help you raise capital, to expand your business or to meet replacement costs and quote. But because many of these businesses are individual private businesses, they don't have a board, they don't have shareholding and all that. It's not illegal. Wow. It becomes illegal when you exploit those circumstances. And that's the reason why we have the FCCPC, that's the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. They are set up to regulate and monitor consumer, not just prices, consumer protection. They're supposed to protect consumers in the marketplace and ensure that there is fair markets. The market is fair to every participant. That's both to the consumer and even to the businesses, because we don't want the businesses to pack up.
Right, but so, does it not look like price gouging? Because I mean, what kind of structure do we have in place? I'm not sure how much the FCCP can do. I think it's just individual cases that people report to them, then they now take action. Do we have a structure in place in Nigeria that ensures that those kind of things do not happen?
The structure is multifaceted.
Oh, wow.
Okay? Yeah. And because Nigeria practices a free economy, we cannot regulate prices. Okay? Price regulation does not help. So what we do is we try to promote competition. You will find that government is actively involved in ensuring that more participants are in the marketplace, because competition is one of the tools by which you can use to force prices down. If, for instance, 5 of us are providing the same service, somebody can decide to use a price drop as their own strategy to attract businesses, which is how you force prices down. I mean, remember the old when we used to have when they told us it was impossible to charge. That was the fastest one I can think. Per minute billing, and then Glo came on board and started charging per second.
I was actually going to go to that as well, because before then we had 3 telcos,
and they all said the same thing.
All of them said the same thing.
That's collusion.
That's okay. So how do we explain that? What if we have a situation like that as well? Because there was a time in this country as well where we had very, very few petrol stations, or petrol dealers, and they all faced one direction.
I did check with the FCCPC, and I know that right now they are already investigating. They're doing some surveillance activity, especially in that petroleum sector. They actually released a press release recently where they identified that, look, they noticed that, yes, prices went up when there was friction in the Strait of Hormuz, but the prices didn't come down to the same measure as when the place was free. And so it's obvious that, in Nigeria, somebody says to me, in Nigeria, the law of gravity doesn't work, especially in pricing. Everything that goes up rarely ever comes down to where it was. We started off in February at 800 naira per litre, and the issue happened on the global stage, pushed it to 1,034. Now it has not gone under 1,000.
Yeah.
It has refused to go under 1,000. And that is what FCCPC is empowered to investigate. They are already carrying on that investigation to find out why is this pricing not really going, it's not as elastic as what brought it on. And that's where you find the excesses of Nigerian businesses. The minute they get attracted to collecting a certain amount of money, they rarely ever want to go back. Look at transportation. Transportation has almost tripled, and it has stayed about there.
Well,
because
fuel prices also remained up there.
No, fuel price keeps going up and down, but you never find pricing going up and down with the price line. It stays flat.
Yeah.
While the others are moving up and down. So it's the way a regulated or competitive markets work is that if prices go up, consumers will feel it. If it comes down, consumers will feel it. But not in Nigeria. It goes up, consumers feel it, and then it comes down just maybe to middle level or something. So that is the role that FCCPC is playing. They have the power to investigate those kind of markets where you find that there's something. Why is it not as elastic as the incidences that brought it on? They have done that in FS. You remember they did something in FS recently when it comes to celebration periods like December and all that, fares just become so astronomical. And so they found out that it was not commensurate with maybe an increase in fuel, petroleum, jet fuel or something, that the price, the measure, it increased like 300-400% more than the increase. And so they're already investigating it. And if they do find that is price gouging, and they can penalize and hold those people responsible.
But that's the other time I spoke about structure. That's like a structured industry, the airline. Where we talk about the price of tomatoes and onions and other things, perishables. Informal sector more like. How does the FCCP come in to regulate those particular ones such that Nigerians don't suffer it? The airlines and other whatever, it's more structured, so you probably can actually go in and say, no, what you're doing is not right. But for the informal sector, how many associations and shops can you deal with to say, no, let your...
Oh, actually, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act, when we had that per second billing thing, we didn't have competition laws.
Yeah.
Now we have competition laws. And those competition laws also actually affect associations and artisans and all of those things. It is the responsibility of the FCCPC to keep enlightening those marketplaces and helping them understand you can't behave as you used to behave before. Now, one of the ways that government can help is interventions. I remember the responsibility of the FCCPC to keep enlightening those places and helping them understand you can't behave as you used to behave before. Now, one of the ways that government can help is interventions. I remember when there was this I think it was about the time when there was a shift in FX and Kwanko, and food became so expensive. And Lagos State started that discount market. Yeah. It actually helped to force prices back to normal. In a capitalist environment, the capitalist is more interested in making profit. It can maximize profit as much as it can. That is why government is there to push against you, to say, no, you cannot go beyond this particular thing. But because government doesn't want to regulate, because if government regulates that market, it can cause scarcity, it can cause a whole lot of things, which is not beneficial to the consumer. So there are a lot of tools in government's hand to modulate and to work with markets to bring it down. But basically, we can only still appeal to the conscience of the average Nigerian. It's so important that we all understand that our actions, when I put unnecessary increase on my own service, the person who is benefiting from that service will also have to increase his own, which would eventually come round and bite you. So it's a cycle.
Yeah.
And until we get that understanding, we will keep pushing back and forth.
Yeah.
The first phase of its presidential metering initiative, with plans to train 5,000 young Nigerians in smart meter installation as part of efforts to reform the country's electricity sector. President Bola Tinubu says the initiative is expected to tackle estimated billing, improve service delivery, and create employment opportunities while laying the foundation for a more transparent and efficient power industry. TV360's correspondent Okpeyemi Owusheni reports.
The federal government is stepping up efforts to reform Nigeria's electricity sector with the launch of a nationwide smart metering program aimed at improving electricity billing and expanding access to accurate energy measurement. At the National Power Training Institute of Nigeria in Abuja, 5,000 young Nigerians have begun training as smart meter installers under the Presidential Metering Initiative, a program the government says will support ongoing reforms in the power sector while creating new employment opportunities.
The 5,000 young Nigerians being trained under this initiative will become the backbone of Nigerian smart metering. They will help ensure the millions of households and businesses receive professionally installed meters that meet the highest technical and safety standards, thanks to my brother in NEMSA. Beyond strengthening the power sector, this program creates meaningful employment.
President Bola Tinubu says the initiative is designed to eliminate estimated billing and ensure that electricity consumers pay only for the energy they consume. Represented by the Minister of Power, Joseph Tegbe, at the inauguration of the program, the President says the deployment of smart meters will also improve transparency, strengthen consumer confidence, and provide electricity distribution companies with more reliable revenue collection.
One particularly encouraging development that deserves special recognition this morning is the recent withdrawal of the court action instituted by the Association of Meter Asset Providers of Nigeria, AMO. It marks an important milestone for our industry. That singular act and decision has removed a significant obstacle to the accelerated deployment of electricity meters across the country and creating jobs for these 5,000 people.
According to the Special Advisor to the President on Energy and Executive Secretary of the Presidential Metering Initiative, Oluvaren, the scale of the program makes the development of skilled technical personnel essential to its success.
Because the future cannot be built by government alone, we're trying, but it requires more. It will be built by the millions of capable Nigerians who are equipped with the skills and the opportunity to help shape Nigeria. Every Power Force graduate will receive professional training through NAPTIM, industry certification through NEMSA, and a direct pathway into employment.
Officials say interest in the program has been significant, with nearly 220,000 young Nigerians applying for just 5,000 available training slots. The training will begin in Abuja before expanding to the 6 geopolitical zones, with successful participants expected to receive technical training through NAPTIN, industry certification from the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, and employment opportunity with electricity distribution companies and meter providers.
Curriculum developed for this training program has been carefully designed to meet internationally accepted technical and occupational standards. It combines classroom instruction with intensive practical sessions to ensure that participants acquire hands-on competencies required by the modern electricity industry.
The initiative has also received support from other government officials who say it aligns with broader effort to equip young Nigerians with practical skills that can improve employability and encourage entrepreneurship within the power sector.
I believe this initiative is more than the installation you think it is. It's about building skills. It's about creating jobs. It's about preparing Nigerian youth for the future. And I commend all partners for what they've put into this.
Beyond the first batch of 5,000 trainees, the federal government says the Presidential Metering Initiative will be expanded in phases, with a long-term target of training up to 500,000 young Nigerians to support the nationwide deployment of more than 7 million smart meters. Officials say the program is expected to build a pipeline of certified technicians for Nigeria's electricity industry, while helping to close the country's metering gap through a skilled local workforce.
U.S. rivals are providing weapons to Iran. He did issue this warning in a new post to social media saying, quote, two major countries that people speak of often in terms of Iran are, in my opinion, not participating. If they did, it would be very bad for them, certainly not in their best interests. Of course, we should also note that this directly contradicts testimony from Pentagon official Pete Hegseth. He said that China and Russia are at different levels enabling some of Iran's activity.
And Betsy, the 4 soldiers who were killed over the weekend have actually been removed from the Pentagon's list of casualties. They were on the website Wednesday. It was listed as 18 who had died in this war with Iran. Thursday, it was at 14. What are you learning about this?
Well, this was first brought to our attention by a report in the New York Times. And the New York Times reporting indicated, according to 3 military officials, that there had been some internal disagreement about whether those 4 U.S. service members who were killed over the weekend should be included in the count because they were all killed after President Trump signed that ceasefire deal, which, as we know, has fallen apart. But a Pentagon spokesperson providing some clarity, they say that this is a temporary data disruption and it will be resolved. But we just checked right before I came on air. That count right now is still 14, Brianna.
All right, Betsy, thank you so much. Brian?
Breaking overnight, oil prices shooting up as war in Iran ratchets up. President Trump now says he's not ready to strike a deal at all and is considering a massive attack.
A packed seaplane crashes into the water. You can see the fiery remains, how 11 people managed to make it out alive. And wildfires trigger a mass evacuation of an entire peninsula packed with summer tourists. The problem, there's only one road out. Kate is out today. I'm John Berman with Sarah Seiner. This is CNN News Central.
Breaking news this morning, the U.S. and Iran trading strikes overnight and conflicting reports. Did Iran reject a U.S. proposal for a new ceasefire? The New York Times says yes. Iranian state media says no. But right now, there's no side. Either side is backing down and heading towards diplomacy. Iran claiming it targeted U.S. military bases in multiple countries in the Middle East overnight, while U.S. Central Command said it carried out its 13th straight night of attacks on Iran. Military targets, it says. Iran state media reports at least 4 people were killed. President Trump told Axios he's considering a, quote, massive attack on Iran, bigger than ever before, he says. He does not sound ready to cut a deal.
We're doing very well against the Islamic Republic of Iran. We're doing extremely well. They would like to do something, but I say they're not ready yet. They need more of the same.
CNN's Betsy Klein live for us at the White House this morning. Where are we here this morning?
Well, Sarah, it's been 13 consecutive nights of these U.S. strikes on Iran, and this diplomatic off-ramp appears to be further away than ever. And it comes as we are learning, according to 2 sources familiar with the matter, that U.S. intelligence agencies have recently assessed that these types of strikes that the U.S. has been carrying out against Iran are unlikely to shift Iran's negotiating position. Meanwhile, the New York Times, as you mentioned, reports that Iran has rejected on Thursday a ceasefire proposal that was carried to Tehran by Iraq's prime minister, who recently met here at the White House with President Trump. Now, we don't know exactly the substance of what was in that ceasefire proposal. However, Iranian officials tell the Times that they were not interested in a temporary deal that would not resolve the question of who has control over the Strait of Hormuz, of course, that critical oil thoroughfare. Meanwhile, Iranian state media pushing back on that. They say that that report is diversionary and misleading. So I've asked the White House for clarity this morning on whether they think Iran is taking this seriously. Haven't heard back yet, but in President Trump's view, as you saw, Iran is not ready yet, in his words. The president has limited options here. He can continue to this status quo of these strikes that we're seeing every single night, or he can escalate with the possibility of boots on the ground. That is something that he has telegraphed is also a possibility. But Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told the Wall Street Journal in what I think was a very revealing comment that the strikes are going to continue until they come to the table in what President Trump deems a meaningful way. Again, according to Leavitt, interesting wording there. But we know that the president is increasingly frustrated by this conflict. He had promised that it would be over within a matter of weeks. It's now hitting its 5-month mark. The price of gas steadily ticking up, now $4.10 a gallon. All of this weighing on President Trump with just 3 months to go to those midterm elections. Sarah.
Former U.S. ambassador to the European Union. Ambassador Sondland, good morning. There is reporting that the president, and it's visible, is growing frustrated with Iran and its extended conflict, 13 straight nights of U.S. action against it. And our friend Barak Ravid at Axios is reporting the president is close to deciding on what Barak reports would be a massive attack on Iran to try to change the nature of the situation. What do you think a massive attack on Iran would accomplish?
Well, before I respond to that question, you know, the president did make an honest effort to try and make a deal. And the people with whom he was dealing, as we discussed a few days ago, John, are sincere in wanting to eradicate the IRGC and bring the Iranian people into the community of nations. The problem is they don't have any
them that help would be on the way. Do you think the United States should be more directly, overtly involved with trying to have some kind of uprising, giving direct assistance to the Iranian people?
Perhaps you misunderstood my point. I'm saying the Iranian people are incapable of uprising, or rising up, I should say, under the current scenario. They have no weapons. What they need to have is they need to have sympathetic members of the IRGC who will turn around and not shoot them when they start these uprisings. And we're not there yet because the militants are still in control of the Iranian Republican Guard.
We will see what happens next and if it changes things. Former Ambassador Gordon Sondland, always good to talk to you. Thanks for coming on this morning.
Begin first in the United States because U.S. President Donald Trump is now weighing the very dangerous risk of escalating the war with Iran without a clear endgame in sight. The president told Axios he is considering, quote, a massive attack on Iran and is close to making a decision. The president, he also says he doesn't believe the Iranians are ready to make a deal right now because, quote, they haven't received enough pain yet. Iran's military says it launched drones at American targets in Bahrain and Jordan as the current phase of the war drags on. Sirens were also heard in Bahrain earlier. Iranian state media, meanwhile, says a U.S. missile strike targeted Iran's Revolutionary Guard headquarters, and CNN cannot independently verify that claim. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has accepted President Trump's invitation to meet next Tuesday at the White House. The war with Iran certain to be, as you can imagine, the top of their meeting agenda. Let's get more on all these strands for you. CNN's Julia Benbrook is in Washington for us, and our Fred Blyken, who's reporting extensively, as you know, from inside Iran, joins us now. Julia, let me go to you first, and really on those comments by President Trump, taking this to potentially an unprecedented level when he talks about considering a massive attack bigger than ever before. What more can you tell us about this? Because he has made similar bombastic threats before.
He has made comments throughout the conflict that sometimes have led to that further escalation, sometimes have led to a pullback. So keeping an eye on all of that. And then during that interview, he said that he has not yet made a decision and did not give a timeline for that determination on if that would go further. But there have now been 13 consecutive nights of U.S. strikes, as well as waves of Iranian drones and missiles fired at a widening number of targets in countries with U.S. bases. And this recent escalation kind of started again as Iran had targeted ships in the Strait of Hormuz a couple of weeks ago, and as Trump said that he believed that the ceasefire was, quote, over. And now, in recent days, he's signaled that he is not quite ready to negotiate a new ceasefire agreement at this time. After the days and days of consecutive strikes, he said that they may need more of the same. He also continued to claim that Iran wants to come to the table and negotiate, but that he believes that they are not quite ready, and reiterated the point that he has made throughout this conflict, that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And all of this is happening just over a month ago. There was what appeared to be a diplomatic breakthrough, the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding both by the United States and Iran, which was supposed to kick off this 60-day time period for negotiations, for technical talks on Iran's nuclear program, addressing issues like the fate of its stockpile of highly enriched uranium. But Trump has also said recently that, in his view, that the Memorandum of Understanding is, quote, over as well. But he continues to try and paint an optimistic view, telling Americans that he believes the United States is doing extremely well when it comes to this conflict. Polling, though, pushes back on that a bit. A recent Fox News poll says that the majority of Americans, 56% in their polling, do not approve of the U.S. military action that is taking place there in Iran right now. And then on where United States and Israel stand on all of this, as you pointed out, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to meet with Trump at the White House on Tuesday. A lot of conversations as this continues to escalate at this point.
Indeed. Stay with us, Julie. Let me bring in Fred into the conversation. And Fred, you know, as Julie was saying, we're seeing the tit for tat clearly continue now 13 days in. It's looking Bahrain, Kuwait, Jordan, all hearing sirens ringing out this Friday. What are you hearing? You're well tapped into what's happening in Iran. You often report from Tehran. What are you hearing from inside Iran? Are they preparing for this escalation that President Trump is talking about here?
Hi there. You said, well, I think they've been preparing for something like this for a very long time. One of the things that we have to understand is when Iran signed the Memorandum of Understanding, they never really trusted the diplomatic process, and they did say that they would be prepared to retaliate should there be escalation on the part of the United States, especially if you look at, for instance, the military leadership in Iran. They, from the very beginning, said that they would be prepared if there were, as they put it, violations of the ceasefire. And if you look at right now some of the rhetoric that's been coming out of the White House with President Trump saying that he's possibly getting ready for some sort of escalation, the Iranians are clearly saying they're not going to back down in the face of that. They are ready for that. And they also say, quite frankly, that it's not going to change anything as far as the Strait of Hormuz is concerned, that the Iranians are still going to be able to project power into the Strait of Hormuz, control the Strait of Hormuz, at the same time also, of course, project power into the region as well. One of the things that we've been seeing between the Trump administration and the Iranian leadership over the past couple of days is sort of a trading, not just of blows on the military field, but also of threats as well, with President Trump saying that if the Iranians continue to hit, for instance, tankers and other ships in the Strait of Hormuz and in general in the Gulf area, that the U.S. would start hitting bridges and possibly power plants for each ship that's it. Well, the Iranians have said if the U.S. are going to hit critical infrastructure inside Iran, that the Iranians would start doing exactly the same thing. For instance, in the Gulf region, you look, for instance, at energy infrastructure there. You look at desalination plants on both sides of the Gulf. Obviously, that's something that could lead to a very dangerous situation in that area, and certainly also something that the Gulf states are very concerned about as well. The Iranians say the core for them right now, to if there's a chance to get this Memorandum of Understanding back on track, is the situation in the Strait of Hormuz. They're taking a very hard line. They're saying they're taking a very hard line on controlling the Strait of Hormuz, controlling the shipping lanes through the Strait of Hormuz, defining those shipping lanes, and essentially saying that they believe that the Memorandum of Understanding gives them the sole power to define how the Strait of Hormuz is governed, at least in the first part, until a broader agreement can be reached. Now, they say they're not backing down from that. The U.S. is going to have to accept that. But of course, as we can see right now, that's something that's definitely a big point of contention between those two sides, as now we're looking at almost 2 weeks of two sides trading blows there in the Gulf area. And of course, all of this, Issa, one of the things we have to keep in mind, this is also having a devastating effect on the agreement can be reached. Now, they say they're not backing down from that. The U.S. is going to have to accept that. But of course, as we can see right now, that's something that's definitely a big point of contention between those two sides, as now we're looking at almost 2 weeks of two sides trading blows there in the Gulf area. And of course, all of this, Issa, one of the things we have to keep in mind, this is also having a devastating effect on the population in Iran, obviously not being able to move forward from that war footing. Still a lot of people having trouble with the economy as well. A lot of civilians also have been killed, the Iranians say, in the strikes that the U.S. has conducted over the past 2 weeks. So it seems as though the longer this goes on and the more devastating the strikes on both sides get, the more difficult it could be to get back to diplomacy, even though Iran's foreign ministry has said that they are still open for diplomacy and continue to consider that a viable avenue.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it back to the